Hello, I am Dr. E. Srinivasa, Assistant Professor of Physics. In this video, I am going to explain some concept of vector algebra in a chapter Planar Motion and in a paper Mechanics and Properties of Matter. Review of vector algebra. First of all, before going to explain the vector concept, we have to know what are the physical quantities, what are the scalars and vectors. A physical quantity is one which can be measured directly or indirectly. All measurable physical quantities are divided into two types. One is scalar and the other one is a vector quantity. What is a scalar quantity or scalars? A scalar quantity is a quantity that has magnitude only and has no direction in space. Examples of scalar quantities are length, area, volume, time, mass, work, power, energy, density, etc. etc. So, a scalar quantity is one which has only magnitude but no direction. So, for example, if we take here, it is a car. The length of a car is 4.5 meter. Length represents a physical quantity, whereas 4.5 meter represent magnitude. Magnitude means amount. For example, a rice of 5 kg. That 5 kg represents the magnitude. 5 represent magnitude in a 5 kg. So, a scalar is a physical quantity having only magnitude, that is amount. This 4.5 is a magnitude and this meter is a unit. What is a vector? Vectors are the physical quantities that have magnitude and direction. Magnitude means size or amount. So, to understand a physical quantity, we need both magnitude and direction. So, vectors are quantities that have magnitude and direction. For example, 35 meter is a scalar quantity. That means it is a only scalar. 35 is a scalar quantity. Whereas 35 meter east represent a vector quantity because in a 35 meter east it has both magnitude, 35, and east, that is it represents in east direction. So it has both magnitude and direction. Therefore, 35 meter east is a vector quantity. Quantities like temperature, time, mass and distance are examples of scalar quantities, whereas quantities like force, velocity, displacement, acceleration, angular momentum, electric field, magnetic field, force, etc. are vector quantities. A vector quantity is a quantity that has both magnitude and directions. You already know about these. Again, displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, etc. are examples of vector quantities. Here, so this gives the direction, in which direction he has to move. The nameplate shows how much distance, in which direction a passenger can travel. Representation of a vector. That means how a vector is represented. A vector is represented always a straight line with arrow mark. The length of the straight line is proportional to magnitude, amount. If the length is large, the magnitude is large. If the length is less, then the magnitude is less. And the arrow head indicates the direction. So, a straight line with arrow mark is represents a vector. And this theta, I mean angle made by the direction of the vector with any one axis, say x-axis, gives the direction. I mean with x-axis like that, by what angle it acts. So this theta represents direction. So the length of the straight line is directly proportional to magnitude, which gives the magnitude. I mean length of the vector gives the magnitude, and angle made by the vector with some axis, say x-axis, gives the direction. That means angle theta represents direction in which angle it acts. So here point AB represents a vector, A represents a tail and B represents head. This A also represents the initial point, and this AB is symbolically represented as AB, vector AB. They are also represented by a single capital letter with an arrow above it. For example, this is a vector A. So there is an arrow mark or arrowhead on the symbol capital A. So this represents a vector B and this represents a vector P. So this is how we can represent a vector in a diagram. Again, some other examples. These are the scalar quantities. Distance is a scalar quantity, whereas displacement is a vector quantity. Speed is a scalar quantity. I mean, it is a magnitude of velocity, whereas velocity, it has both magnitude and direction, is a vector quantity. Similarly, temperature, mass, energy, time, volume, density, etc., work, power, energy, all represented by the scalar quantity. Here also acceleration, force, momentum, I mean linear momentum, angular momentum, torque, electric field, magnetic field, etc. are all gives the vector quantities. Types of vectors on the basis of orientation. So there are different types of vectors on the orientation. So they are, first one, parallel vectors. Two vectors are said to be parallel vectors if they have same direction. Here vector A and vector B acting along the same parallel lines in the same direction, they are called parallel vectors. Here also vector P and Q acting in opposite direction, but they are parallel with each other. They are also parallel vectors. What are equal vectors? Two parallel vectors are said to be equal vectors if they have same magnitude and also direction. Here also vector A and B acting in a same direction, their magnitudes are also equal. Then only we say that the vector A is equal to vector B, they are called equal vectors. Here also vector P and Q acting in the same direction, their magnitudes are also equal. Therefore, vector P is equal to vector Q. Anti-parallel vectors. Two vectors are said to be anti-parallel vectors if they are in opposite direction. Here, these are the parallel vectors having parallel in acting in the parallel lines. Here, anti-parallel vectors means acting in opposite direction. Two vectors A and B acting parallel with each other but opposite in direction. Negative vector. Two anti-parallel vectors are said to be negative vectors if they have same magnitude. Here the vector A acting in this direction. So vector B having the same magnitude of A but acting in opposite direction. Therefore, vector B is said to be a negative vector of A. So A is equal to B. Vector A is equal to minus vector B. Here also vector P acting in this direction and Q, the vector acting in the same, opposite direction but having same magnitude. So a vector having same magnitude but acting in opposite direction represent a negative of a vector. That means vector P is equal to minus of vector Q. Collinear vectors. Two vectors are said to be collinear vectors if they act along the same line. Here vector A and vector B acting along the same line but they are acting in opposite direction. Whether it may be acting in the same direction or opposite direction, but they should act along the same line. That means two or more vectors acting along the same line, whether it may be in the same direction or in opposite direction, they are called collinear vectors. Co-initial vectors. Two or more vectors are said to be co-initial vectors if they have common initial point. Here this is the common initial point. All the vectors A, vector B, vector C and vector D are all starting from this point. Therefore these are called vector A, B, C and D are called co-initial vectors. If a number of vectors are starting from the same point, then the vectors are called co-initial vectors. Next one, coterminous vectors. Coterminous vectors are opposite to the co-initial vectors. Here, two or more vectors are said to be coterminous vectors if they have common terminal point. That means all the vectors terminate, end at the same point. Then the vectors are called coterminous vectors. Here vector A, vector B, vector C and vector D, all these vectors are terminate at this single point. Therefore these vectors are called coterminous vectors. Coplanar vectors. If three or more vectors are said to be coplanar vectors if they are lie in the same plane. If all the vectors acting in the same plane, then the vectors are called coplanar vectors. Vector A, vector B, vector C, vector D all are acting in the same plane. Therefore all these are called coplanar vectors. Non-coplanar vectors. If three or more vectors are said to be non-coplanar vectors if they are distributed in space. Here this is one plane and this is another plane. Okay, so like that this is another plane. If the vectors acting at different planes, this is one plane, this is another plane, like this is another plane. Therefore they are acting in the different planes. Vector A acting in this plane, vector B acting in this plane, vector C acting in this plane. So they are acting in the different planes. Therefore they are called non-coplanar vectors. Types of vectors on the basis of effect. So how they are giving effects. First, polar vectors and the second one are axial vectors. What are polar vectors? Vectors having straight line effect are called polar vectors. Vectors gives rise to straight line effect called polar vectors. Whereas vectors having rotational effects are called axial vectors. Suppose for some angular momentum, angular velocity, angular acceleration, torque are examples for axial vectors. They are rotate about a certain axis. Whereas displacement, velocity, acceleration, force are all acting along the straight line. Therefore these are called polar vectors. Polar vectors are the vectors having a straight line effect. Displacement is along a straight line. Velocity is along a straight line. Acceleration, I mean velocity is along the direction of the displacement. Similarly, acceleration is along the direction of the velocity. This is linear acceleration. Force is along the direction of the displacement. So like this, these are called polar vectors, whereas angular momentum, angular velocity, angular acceleration, torque are all called axial vectors. Vector addition by geometrical method. Since vectors have both magnitude and direction, they cannot be added with simple algebraic terms. So there are different types of addition of vectors. So if the two vectors acting along the same line, they can be added with r is equal to a plus b, like that. If the vectors acting at a different plane, they can be acted like this. If the two vectors are represented by the two straight lines, vector A and vector B, so the resultant of vector A and vector B is the vector C. I mean, if the two vectors are represented like this, A and B, the third vector, I mean in order, these vector A and B acting in order. So A ends here. From the terminus point, the B vector starts, but the third vector C acting in a direction opposite to these two vectors gives the resultant, that is C is equal to A plus B. So vector C represents the sum of A and B vector. This is called triangle of addition of vectors. If any two vectors acting at a point can be represented both in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle, then the third side taken in opposite direction represents their resultant. This is the triangle of addition of vectors. Similarly, parallelogram law of addition of vectors. If any two vectors A and B, say A and B, acting at a point can be represented both in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then their resultant is represented both in magnitude and direction of the diagonal drawn from that point. That means the diagonal of the parallelogram represent the resultant, that is C, vector C, of two vectors A and B. So if any two vectors A and B acting at a point can be represented both in magnitude and direction by the adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then their resultant is represented by the diagonal drawn from that point. Here the vector C represents diagonal of the parallelogram. This diagonal represents the resultant of the two vectors A and B represented by the adjacent sides of a parallelogram. That is C is equal to A plus B. Similarly, polygon law of addition of vectors. Polygon law of addition of vectors states that if a number of vectors here A, B, C and D acting at a point can be represented both in magnitude and direction by the sides of a polygon taken in order, then the closing side of the polygon represents the resultant of the vectors. Here vector A, vector B, vector C and vector D acting on the center of the wheel gives rise to rotational effect or resultant effect. So if you draw a polygon by drawing parallel to all these vectors, here vector A parallel to A, vector B parallel to B, vector C parallel to C, vector D parallel to D. So if we represent all these sides taken in order. See, vector A, B, C and D taken in order. Then the closing side of the polygon taken in opposite direction, that is vector E, represents the resultant of all these vectors. So vector E is equal to vector A plus B plus C plus D, and vector E is taken in a direction opposite to all these vectors. This is how we can add a different number of vectors. Triangle of addition of vectors by drawing parallel lines. Here also vector A, draw parallel to this vector. This is vector B, draw a straight line parallel to this vector B. So these are taken in order. The closing side, vector C, represents the resultant of these two vectors. Here also, vector A, vector B. Draw vector A, vector B parallel to these two lines. Then complete the parallelogram. Draw the diagonal of the parallelogram from the points. The diagonal represents the resultant of A and B. So triangle of addition of vectors, parallelogram law of addition of vectors, and polygon law of addition of vectors. So what are the properties of the addition of vectors? Addition of vectors satisfies the commutative property and also associative property. That is, here C is equal to A plus B. C is equal to A plus B. That is equal to B plus A. Here C, B plus A. So A plus B is equal to B plus A. Therefore, addition of vectors obey commutative law. Commutative law means A plus B is equal to B plus A. Similarly, associative law, D is equal to A plus B plus C. That is equal to A plus of B plus C. So here this is a vector A and this is the vector B. Their resultant is given by A plus B by drawing the closing side of these two vectors. Again, so here this is a plus B and this is another vector C. So A plus B, this is C, A plus B of C plus C. Their resultant, that means the resultant of A plus B plus C is the vector D. Listen here, this is the vector A and this is the vector B. The resultant of these two vectors is A plus B. Again, the resultant of A plus B and C is the D. Vector D represents resultant of all these two vectors in this diagram. Similarly, this is vector A and this is the vector B and this is the vector C. This is vector B and this is vector C. The resultant of B and C is the B plus C. So the resultant of B and C is the B plus C. So this B plus C plus A gives the resultant of vector D. So A plus of B plus C gives again D vector. So addition of vectors also satisfy the associative property. Next we will come to the subtraction of vectors. How a vector can be subtracted from the other vector. This is addition of vectors. This diagram. This is the vector A and this is the vector B. The resultant of A and B is the closing side of the triangle that gives the A plus B. Suppose if a vector B is reversed, this is the vector A, again it is represented by A. This vector B is reversed, then B becomes minus B. Here also this vector B is reversed, so it represents minus B. A and minus B are taken in the same order. Then the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite direction gives the resultant of these two vectors. That means A plus of minus B. A plus of minus B is A minus B. That means to subtract any vector from the another vector, its direction should be reversed and then it should be added to the given vector. So this is how we can subtract a vector from the another vector. The subtraction of B from vector A is defined as the addition of vector minus B to a vector A. So A minus B is equal to A plus of minus B. So review factor, we can also find magnitude of the resultant and also direction of the resultant. This is the derivation. We don't need the derivation. We concentrate on only final formula of the resultant of the two vectors by the parallelogram addition of the two vectors. So this represents the parallelogram law of addition of the two vectors. If P and Q are the acting at the point O, then their resultant R drawn from the point O represents resultant of P and Q. The resultant, magnitude of the resultant is given by this formula, that is R is equal to root of P square plus 2PQ cos theta plus Q square, or R square is equal to P square plus 2PQ cos theta plus Q square. These two equations represents magnitude. Finally, R is equal to root of P square plus 2PQ cos theta plus Q square represents the magnitude of the resultant. Here, theta is the angle between the two vectors P and Q. So, to find the direction of the resultant vector with P, if alpha is the angle made by the resultant with a vector P, then the direction of the resultant with a vector P is represented by an angle alpha. The tan alpha is equal to Q sin theta over P plus Q cos theta gives the direction of the resultant. With what angle the resultant acts with respect to a vector P. So this is alpha. This alpha gives the direction of the resultant with vector P. So that is tan alpha is equal to Q sin theta over P plus Q cos theta gives the direction of the resultant, and this equation gives the magnitude of the resultant. So there are other vectors called unit vector. A unit vector is a vector that has a magnitude of exactly 1. Any vector having magnitude unity, that is 1, and drawn in the direction of a given vector gives the unit vector. So here this is the vector A, and A cap, vector A cap represents a unit vector in the direction of a vector having unit magnitude or magnitude 1. It lacks both dimension and unit. Its only purpose is to specify a direction in space. That means unit vector is represented to show the direction of a vector. A unit vector is also expressed as a product of its magnitude and a unit vector. For example, a vector A may be represented as A is equal to A, magnitude A, and a unit vector. Our unit vector is equal to ratio of a vector A to its magnitude or modulus. Unit vector is also defined as unit vector A is equal to ratio of a magnitude of the vector to its vector to its magnitude. Here vector A is equal to magnitude of A and a cap is unit vector of A. I mean, unit vector is always represented by drawing a cap on a given vector or symbol. Resolution of a vector. Resolution means splitting. So, the process of splitting of a vector into two or more vectors or components is called resolution of a vector. So, resolution of a vector is the process of splitting up of a vector into two or more vectors in such a way that their combined effect is same as that of the given vector. Here, this is the vector A. This vector A can be resolved along any two directions. Along T, AT, and along N, it is AN. If the two vectors can be resolved, any vector can be resolved along any two directions, any two perpendicular directions, then they are called rectangular components of two-dimensional vectors, because here we are taken only two directions, x-axis and y-axis. There are two directions. So here this vector A acting at point O, origin, makes an angle theta with the x-axis, then AX is the component of a vector A along x-axis and AY is the component of a vector A along y-axis. So the splitting vectors are called components, and this vector can be resolved along any two perpendicular directions. Then they are called components. AX, rectangular components. Here AX and AY are resolved, the vector A is resolved along X and Y. They are mutually perpendicular directions, and AX and AY are called rectangular components. And also we can prove that using the trigonometric functions. AX is equal to A cos theta and AY is equal to A sin theta. So, and also here I cap and j cap are the unit vectors along x and y axis. Therefore, this vector can be resolved along x and y direction as ax into I cap and ay into j cap. So, the resultant of this vector A is equal to, again, ax into I cap, ay into j cap, then the closing side A. This closing side A is equal to sum of these two vectors, that is ax into I cap plus ay into j cap. So, vector A is equal to ax into I cap plus ay into j cap. Magnitude. The magnitude of the vector is given by, this is very important. Magnitude of any number of vectors A is equal to root of ax square plus ay square plus az square, like that. Here there are two vectors only. Therefore, magnitude of this vector is given by A is equal to root of ax square plus ay square. And the direction of this vector is given by tan theta is equal to ay by ax, opposite side by adjacent side. So, theta is equal to tan inverse of ay by ax. So, theta is equal to tan inverse of ay by ax gives the direction, and a is equal to root of ax square plus ay square gives the magnitude of the vector. Rectangular topics again, as I explained, if you take this vector A makes an angle theta with ax, then take sin theta. Sin theta is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. Opposite side is ay. Hypotenuse is a. So if you cross multiply, ay is equal to a sin theta. So ay is equal to a sin theta represents the component along y direction. Similarly, if you take a cos theta is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse. Cos theta is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse. Adjacent side is ax. Hypotenuse is a. So, ax is equal to a cos theta. So Ax is equal to A cos theta represents the component of the vector A along x direction. Similarly, rectangular components in 3 direction is given by, this is the vector A. The component of this vector along x-axis is Ax, along y direction is Ay, along z direction is Az. All these are given by A is equal to A dash plus Ay, where A dash is equal to Ax plus Az. So vector A is equal to Ax plus Az plus Ay, or vector A is equal to Ax plus Ay plus Az. So the resultant vector in a 3-dimensional space is given by Ax into I cap plus Ay into j cap plus Az into k cap. So addition of vectors by components. How we can add the components? A is equal to, vector A is given by Ax into I cap along x-axis, Ay into j cap along y direction, and plus Az into k cap. Similarly, vector B is given by Bx into I cap plus By into j cap plus Bz into k cap. Then their resultant R is equal to A plus B. Then A, substitute for A will, and then substitute for B, will get Ax into I cap plus Ay into j cap plus Az into k cap plus Bx into I cap plus By into j cap plus Bz into k cap. Finally, we'll get R is equal to Ax plus Bx into I cap. Take the common factor I cap, unit vector. Then we'll get Ax plus Bx into I cap plus Ay into By into j cap plus Az into Bz into k cap. So Ax plus Bx gives component of the resultant vector Rx along x direction. That is, Ax plus Bx is equal to Rx into I cap. Similarly, Ay plus By gives the Ry into j cap plus Rz into k cap. So Rx is equal to Ax plus Bx, Ry is equal to Ay plus By, and then Rz is equal to Az plus Bz. So today I will stop at this point. Thanking you for watching.